Welcome to another edition of the Defender Roundtable, where we talk about the hot topics going on in the Houston and surrounding area. And today we're talking about a big hot topic, and that is the TEA takeover. The Texas Education Agency took over the Houston Independent School District several years ago. It was supposed to be a 2-year thing. Well, they just announced that they're going to do it at least 2 more years. And so joining us on the Defender Roundtable, along with our normal team of Asad and Laura, is our education reporter, Tanistia. And Tanistia, we're going to start with you. We're going to jump right in with you telling us the latest. What's everything that's going on?
Of course. Thank you, Rashonda. So the Texas Education Agency just announced that it will extend its intervention of Houston ISD for another 2 years. On top of that, it replaced 4 board members and appointed 4 new members to the board. And they will be serving in this role until June 2027. While the current superintendent, Mike Miles, will stay in his role of quote unquote for a few years.
So, who decides this?
So the Texas Education Agency decides what happens with HISD going forward until HISD meets 3 of their exit criteria, which would end the takeover. And these criteria include having no multi-year academically unacceptable or failing campuses, which means they need to have a non-failing grade for multiple years. Then 2 is compliance with special education requirements. And 3, better board governance focusing on student outcomes. On top of this, the Wheatley High School, which kind of triggered the TEA takeover, they must earn a C grade or higher for the next 2 years.
Wow. So, Laura, I know you did a lot of things with education for a while. What's your take on all this?
Well, thank you, Rashonda. I do have a concern about the human cost and sustainability of the current model. I know from news for like the past 2-3 years, we've seen a lot of concerns, especially when going to the board meetings. And Tanistia, I know you've gone to the board meetings too. So, and a lot of the community that are in outrage, every board meeting, they talk about their concerns with their lack of voice and opinion being their lack of voice being mattered because the board takes over everything. They feel like their voices are not being heard. The staff turnovers and enrollment declining. The way that Mike Miles runs his ship is feeling a little bit of like military style. The teachers don't have the flexibility to be able to teach their classes in the way they see fit, because they're the ones with their students all the time and they know what's best for their students, but they have to go through this strict plan, and definitely these teachers are saying it's not working, but they still have to do it anyway. There's a lack of control, local control over their voices. The metrics don't make sense. Teachers are leaving, getting fired. There's just a whole lot of things that are happening, and it just feels like the board is just brushing it right under the rug because they want to focus on their plan that clearly didn't work. It's not working. That's why they're still here saying that, oh, well, I know we said 2 years, but we're coming back to try this again for another 2. So so when is the goalposts? It just keeps expanding. So we don't know what's going to happen in 2027. It's clearly not working. That's why they're still here.
Okay, Aswad, you jump in here.
Well, the thing that gets me is no one knows when this is going to end. And I don't think anyone in Houston or planet Earth was surprised that they extended their takeover. And one of the things that I keep hearing from the great reporting that Tanisha and Laura have done, and from just folk I know who have children in HISD, me being one of them, is people are absolutely concerned with a lack of voice. It seems like this is just a local example of a national movement to push back against democracy. I mean, it's our tax dollars that our tax dollars give us voice in the public education, what's going on in Houston, but we don't have that voice with a state appointed Mike Miles and a state appointed board and that's just an undercutting of all things democratic.
Okay, Tanisha, that's the question a lot of people have is based on, your all of your interaction and you're talking about this, is this even working?
Sure. I'm gonna stick to the facts, the things that I've reported on so far. Based on the exit criteria, HISD still needs to get their official accountability ratings. They release their own unofficial accountability ratings, and based on those, 170 of their campuses received an A or a B grade, which improved from 93 schools last year. And
So wait, HISD said they're doing great. That's what you're saying?
they released their own accountability ratings.
Oh, okay. I'm doing great too. I'm doing great in my job. I mean, but is that acceptable, or is that just how they measure? They say, look, we are our own the ones who give our own report card.
Uh, yeah, kind of. They release their own accountability ratings, but the one that we found, like this is before the takeover, though. This is TEA's official accountability ratings that just got the green light to be available to the public. This is the 2022-23 ratings. And based on this, and based on our findings, the Defender's findings, a lot of the schools with a majority Black student population, they received failing grades. Like, for example, Yates received an F, Kashmir received a D, Worthing D, North Forest D, Wheatley D, Sterling D. All of these schools, we are yet to see if they are going to improve in the 23-24 ratings, which will be a more accurate version of seeing if the NES model is working. As we know, the new education system that Mike Miles implemented at HISD went from 85 to 130 schools, and they have implemented their own curriculum. A lot of that gets pushback from the community meetings that we attend, and it seems to me that HISD needs to strike a balance between listening to the public and engaging in their own curriculum.
What is the community saying? I'll come back to you, Tanisha, but Laura, Swai, have you heard anything from the community, what they're saying about HISD?
Well, there's another standpoint. I don't know if we've already mentioned it about special education. There are a lot of parents who have children of, special needs. They're stating that with this rigid curriculum, they're not able to catch up. And I know, Tanisha, you said one of the exit requirements is to make sure that special education is on par. And so when you have a rigid curriculum and you have all these students with these, learning disabilities, how are you able to successfully do that? And that's why we're here. They're not going to be able to meet that mark if this is a continued problem. So that's a big issue right now that I'm hearing from parents.
Mm-hmm.
And another issue I'm hearing is the fact that schools, you can't run a school effectively using a business model because children aren't widgets. And I can speak from personal experience because I was a former public school, high school educator. You have to be able to move and match and meet the students where they are. And if the curriculum is so rigid and so forced, a lot of students are going to get left behind. And then there's also the issue of where is the money going? I know a few months ago, HISD held some big workshop, and one of the folk who got the biggest payday and did a lecture, I think, was Mike Miles' sister. So no one's Mike Miles isn't talking about the nepotism, but the folk in the community are.
So what happens now, Tanisha, from this point on? Is it just a matter of now we wait 2 more years to see if he turns it around? And do they, again, the TEA gives him 2 more years and he just stays indefinitely? Or what happens from here?
So it seems to me that the next 2 years are going to be similar, but from the last time that Mike Morath had, the TEA Education Commissioner, had come to Houston, we got a chance to ask him a lot of questions, and he kind of painted a picture which showed that HISD is making big gains in finance and operations, special education. So it seems to me that it's going to be a similar trajectory, but the transition, once TEA believes that HISD has made a turnaround, the transition will begin. So the 9 trustees who were originally at the helm of HISD will start to get back alongside the current board of managers. I'm going to explain this a little better. So once the transition begins, 1/3 of the board will start to get replaced by the trustees until all the trustees are on the board. So that's what the transition will look like, but we're not sure when that's going to happen, or what the gains will be from now on. You asked a little bit about the public pushback, and the greatest answer that we got was on November 5th when the $4.4 billion bond failed. So a lot of the parents, what we hear during these board meetings is that they are pushing back against HISD's curriculum. A little bit about what Asad said. They are saying that it's very rigorous. We reported on this, what the NES looks like after visiting a couple of HISD campuses. 40 to 45 minutes of instruction using multiple response strategies, 10 minutes of demonstration of learning or DOL or a mini quiz, and then 35 minutes of follow-up teaching. So those who master the DOL then proceed to the team centers, which were originally the HISD libraries. They've been turned into those team centers to practice more advanced exercises. And then those who cannot master the DOL remain in the classroom for a second teach. So all this rigorous curriculum is getting pushback from the community, and we're yet to see any kind of changes that HISD will be making to these.
Well, you will definitely be busy for the next 2 years. So we're going to wrap it there. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tanistia, and lending your expertise to all of this. And Asad and Laura, as usual. And to our viewers, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed this discussion. Check out all of Tanistia's articles following the TEA takeover and just HISD in general at defendernetwork.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, see you soon. Thank you for joining us.